Yeah. Alice, have you heard of the SKG? It is a movement spearheaded by YouTuber Ross Scott, which champions consumer rights and this new thing called game preservation. It's basically it's sparked when things like companies like Ubisoft delist, particularly in this case The Crew, a game, and that digital purchases should grant perpetual access. They're basically saying we've owned something, we purchased something, and we should perpetually own it.
I haven't heard of the Stop Killing Games movement, but I've heard culturally about this kind of backlash to generally subscription models, not just for gaming. But I think I did hear that I think it was Ubisoft had said to their customers that when a new version of a game comes out, you must destroy the old version, which it's like if we think back to sort of 2005 when you'd own your DVDs, that would be like, we've made a new version of Star Wars, so you need to get your DVD of Star Wars and destroy it and buy the new version.
Emily, I want to come back to actually what that means, because I find that hysterical. But what Alice is referring to is that Ubisoft has drawn a significant backlash for an updated clause in its EULA end user license agreement that requires players to immediately uninstall the product and destroy all copies of the product if Ubisoft terminates access to the game. Before we talk about sort of potential methods of destruction, just legally from a point of view. So I don't get this, but you buy something, you own it, and then it's required. Obviously, I know as a social engineer, I'm not a social engineer.
everyone
I'm not going to do any social
it.
engineering. To some extent, my social engineering is all about how I can get more chocolates after dinner. But as a software engineer, there is obviously considerable issues with maintaining software over time, and the other side of this, the sort of games producers are pushing back on those demands, saying there's significant financial and logistical hurdles, and that mandating indefinite server maintenance or offline conversions for online only titles would be prohibitively expensive, and the old trope would stifle innovation if you've got to keep maintaining this old stuff. So we've got this polemic happening at the moment, but just from a legal point of view, where are we at?
I think it's a really interesting hybridity between, going into a shop and buying something, buying a book,